That's kind of hot in here. All right, welcome back to Southwind Solo. I am James, and I'm going to be fixing this water-damaged wall in my Fleetwood Southwind. I've already removed the bolts and everything for the seatbelt. The next thing I'm going to be doing is just going back and finding good solid wood. We've got water that traveled down this beam, and it's permeated into the boards next to it. It's all become delaminated. So what I'm going to have to do is find the solid point where it's not damaged and try, because it's going to go along the bottom a little further, trying to keep it as square as possible. I have water damage behind this cabinet, so I expect I'll have to be taking that down as well. The next thing I'm going to be doing is taking out the door frame. So it was 2 bolts, and make sure you catch your washers for your seat belts. So we'll keep that all together. I think it was 5/8 was the bolt size. So the next thing I'm going to do, and hopefully I can do it with the seat in place because I don't want to mess with that, is I'm going to get this door frame unmounted to expose a little more of the wood behind it. And I'll probably be taking the cabinet down after that. So let's get started on that. So these screws, they're totally rusted in there. One feature about a electric drill that you may or may not know is you can not engage the motor and just simply turn like you would a screwdriver. It gives you pretty good leverage. Just make sure your tip is not going to slip out of the screw, because once you start to strip the screw of the head, it's going to turn into you're going to have to drill it out. So we'll just continue on. I'm just carefully getting these screws out one by one, trying not to pop off and hit the window, and hopefully not breaking a screw in the process. So I'll just work them slowly. Being as they're into wood, they should come out with a little bit of ease. It's just that rustiness that weakens the screw, and it puts them at risk of breaking, and you don't want that to happen. So I'll just get through this and get this door frame off, and then we'll go on to the next part of the project. All right, with that door frame out of the way, I can definitely get full access to all of the wood that's going to have had this water damage done to it. Next part of the problem is this cabinet. I am going to try to remove this. For some reason, these things can just be such a pain in the butt to remove. It's almost like they built the cabinets and then built the entire RV around the cabinets. So hopefully this one is not too much of a pain in the butt. So I'm going to get started on getting that removed. All right, so I've disconnected the power from the coach, and just going to go ahead and remove this light fixture right here. Okay, so what I've done here for that light fixture, I've tied some string over here. So when I pull this cabinet down, the string will travel inside of the cabinet along this wall. I'm trying not to take the entire cabinet apart. So when I go to put it back up, the idea is I'm going to be able to pull the string and pull the wire back through. So to finish this off, I'm just going to put some electrical tape and wrap everything up, make sure there's no way these can make contact with each other, and just try to make it as strong as possible so I can hopefully route this wire back through when I reinstall this cabinet. Sure enough, there were more screws going up into the ceiling, so got those removed. Obviously, this doesn't do me much good if it's so rotted that I can just pull it away from the wall. It's just holding on to this wallpaper right now. So that's going to probably need to have a cut right around, probably need to have a cut right around this area, just because it's good and solid right there. But as I move over, I can start to feel the soft spots. So that's going to have to get cut out of there. These are riveted on. What I'll probably do with this is just simply remove the rivets and then just screw it directly into the wall. I'm not going to worry about trying to replace rivets on this. No need for that. All right, so after I've kind of guesstimated my damaged area, it does extend a little bit further along the bottom. So what I might consider doing is to just come out and cut down instead of taking out the entire piece. I've got good wood right up to about where this wallpaper is given up. So I'm going to come back a few from there, and then I'm going to just start here. If I need to add more, I can always just go with a smaller piece, go in that direction. So just going to give myself a line, and then go up to the top and do the same thing. And then I'll just draw my straight line and make the cut. And that'll make it easier for when I put my new wood in place. It's already going to be squared off. All right, so I didn't capture any footage of me actually doing cutting. So I wanted to just make an extra little scene for that so I can show you how the oscillating saw works. So we're just going to use this other section of the wall that's got some water damage. What I've got is just a piece of wood that was kind of left over from some other cuts, but it's going to work out really well for this spot right here. I can feel it's pretty solid. There's obviously a seam between two boards, but this side got a leak around the window apparently, and I've got a dent. I've got a hole here from where the dinette set was attached to it. So this piece is going to cover up and be able to fix all of that. I'm going to leave a little bit of extra so I have room to go up to the windowsill at the top here. So I'm just going to put that into place where I want it to be, and then I'm going to trace this piece of wood as my template for my cut. So just simply go around, and everything that's going to be removed will fit, or rather this plate will fit right into the section that I'm going to be taking out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this breathing apparatus on just in case there's any kind of nasty mold that's inside of this wall. And then I also have a set of goggles. These are not, safety glasses. These are actual goggles to keep that stuff from getting into my eyes. Alright, so from here I'm going to just take my blade and I'm just going to start cutting away from the foam. Alright, so I'm just loosening up the screws around the windowsill so I can get a little bit of play, bring that out. I can really clean out the rest of that gunk in there. I think that's it there. Okay, so remember to mark the orientation of your panel after you do your outline, because once you set it down, it could go all different ways. I think we're okay to take this breathing thing off. Okay, so that wasn't too bad, but that shows you the process. If possible, you want to try to get under a windowsill. That'll help to hold it in place when you glue it in. And additionally, you could use some other screws or just tape it on. This one will need to get trimmed down on the edge because it's just a tad bit thicker than the original wall. So I'll just take a orbital sander and just come around this thing and knock that edge down. But that's, in a nutshell, how you do that. So we got the pieces cut out and cut them into the shape I need so they'll fit up there nicely. That's after you strip all the old wood off, of course. So once I dry fit these and test them out, I'm going to go to actually gluing them into place. So first thing I'm going to do is just make sure that they fit correctly. And everything comes together right. So fresh panels, I'm trying to use the largest pieces possible. I did not buy 4x8 sheets. I bought the 2x4 sheets because I did not have a vehicle to haul 4x8 sheets. But pretty close. I can fill these seams up with some putty. But what I really want to do is just get a pretty close fit. This is going to have the door trim over top of it, so if I'm not perfect, that's no big deal. This is going to be behind a cabinet, so that's going to be covered up, so that's no big deal. And they're not going to fit perfectly flush, but I can always sand this down and bring that to be a little more flush. One little trick I did here, this cable, I could not disconnect it, so I just cut out a channel to slide the cable into place for that. I got a little overzealous with the cutout for this, but just coming along, this one I just made a little extra square piece, cover that up. Got a little extra square piece down here. So once I get this glued in, it'll flush up pretty good, and then I'll just clean up the fit with a little bit of sanding. And most of it's going to be covered anyway. So if we pan over to this side, did carpeting. So all the seams, you'd have to be looking pretty hard for them. They're just not that noticeable. So if you have a little bit of a bump between two panels, I wouldn't sweat it too much. So for the glue I'm going to be using is the Liquid Nails paneling, wood and floor molding. This stuff works pretty good. Used it on the other side. Didn't have any problems with it. We're going to be using a caulk gun. You're just going to cut a pretty decent size bit of the tip off so you can get a good flow of glue. What I'm going to be doing is coming along all the metal seams, and then I want to go ahead and do a row along the insulation near the old panel, and I'm going to do vertical strips up and down so that gravity doesn't drag my glue down. It'll stay in that vertical strip. So once I get these guys covered up with some glue, I'll put the panel into place, secure it down with some kind of tension to hold some pressure on it, and just let the glue set. Wouldn't imagine it's going to take long. I had no problems with the other side. The glue set up pretty quick, so that part's going to go pretty quick and easy. All right, so getting the cabinets put back into place, the little string trick worked out pretty good. I was able to pull that through, recover my wires, and what I've done in addition is I've just added a few screws to this top panel just to give it some extra support. I've got a little bit of water damage that's rolled into this, so I'm just going to put some spray adhesive on that, get that cleaned up. Once this cabinet here is installed, then I'll put the cabinet that goes forward of that up into place, and that'll be it for the day. Well, yesterday the carpet arrived, so today I'm putting it in. What I'm going to be doing is using some of this Gorilla spray adhesive. This stuff's really good for doing this carpet. You additionally could reinforce it with some staples, and I'll be using this roller to smooth it down onto the surface. When they package this stuff, they fold it in half and then roll it up. So if you get it, you're going to have this seam, but don't worry about that because once you get it applied to the wall, it's going to disappear. So again, I'll put the links to this product that I'm using down in the description, and I'm going to get on with getting this carpet installed on the wall. So you give this stuff a good shake, and then it's just a matter of just spraying on little segments. Get a good coat on there. It starts it here right away, so good stuff. Let's get the roller, and then I'll just roll it up. And if you notice, I'm going over top of one of the holes where the seatbelt connects. I've already cut that out so I can identify it later. I don't have to search around for it. just keep rolling up to where the adhesion starts to take on, and then get ready for your next segment. Super easy. This is going to go pretty quick for me. All right, so the repair to the wall is complete. I've got it covered with carpet. Everything's all back in place. Seatbelt's back installed. Came out pretty good. I appreciate you watching this particular episode of Southwind Solo. I wanted to show you that you could do this wall repair and you don't have to be a master carpenter. So when you come across a project like this, don't shy away from it. Certainly, tools are a big part of this, but you don't have to have a whole big plethora of tools. For example, I have a little battery-operated skill saw to cut the wood. A buddy of mine loaned me his oscillating saw, which was very nice. This is a RIDGID oscillating saw with a plug, so I was able to get a lot more done. Myself, personally, I own a little battery-powered oscillating saw. So this will get some work done, but it's going to run out of battery juice pretty quick. And the last thing that I was using was my trusty old Dremel and just sanding off all the corners around the doors and windows. So for the blade that I used, I just had a sort of a half moon oscillating saw blade. That worked pretty well for me. And carpet's all done. I've shown you all the products I used. Again, if you want to have or want to look into it further to see what products I recommend for this project, check out the description below, and I'll provide you the links to the products on Amazon that I promote. So by all means, if you would, please use those links. It gives me a little bit of a commission, and it doesn't cost you anything extra to use them. So finally, a lot of this, beverages of an adult nature for some of us. That got me through this job. About 2 days worth of work if you really cram it in. I spent about 4 days doing the project. Also, don't forget to buy some kind of breathing apparatus to protect your lungs, and those safety glasses to keep all that weird crud dust out of your eyes. I don't have that in front of me to show you, but I think you saw me wearing it earlier in the video. All right, thanks again for watching. Appreciate your support, and I look forward to showing you some more projects because I got a lot of them to do. All right.